Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Welcome to the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. I can tell you this is the final live show of the year. I'm going to hopefully be away a bit next week, and we'll probably come back in about mid-January. Look out though, I've had the Oracle on the line to me, wants to do a couple of sports betting trivias and that sort of thing. So I don't necessarily say we won't have any videos coming out, but as far as the handicap goes, I think we're going to call it quits now for 2024. And who better to finish the year off than one of Good for the Game's old favourites? It's Couch Critic himself. He's sitting down there on holiday at the moment in Durban, or in KZN, I should say. Are you close to Richards Bay, aren't you, Couch?
Yeah, sitting in Richards Bay, Brent. I thought maybe people watching the show are going to look at our backgrounds and think whether we're worth following or not. You know, if they can see a beach and they can see some umbrellas and things and cocktails running around, they know it's been a good one. I don't know, with us just seeing walls, they might be a bit confused, thinking we might not be worth a follow. Eh?
And also, we're both wearing black. It's almost like we're in mourning. Eh? I mean, it's like, come, let this year be out the way. We're not all black supporters, that's for sure. So yeah,
no, we don't even have the old we don't even have the old floral shirt on. We're not quite hitting the December vibes as the way we should.
No, that's it. Well, I'm looking forward to also taking a little bit of a break. I'll still be doing the odd thing. I always struggle to switch off totally, but it's going to be good. And just to ask on your side, Couch, how things been going? First of all, on your show, how things going? And secondly, punting wise, have you been taking it easy? You've been getting involved?
Brent, show wise, I think it's probably the same as the betting wise. You know, it's a little bit up and down. It's always a bit of a struggle. I know you'll know with guests, but really getting nice, guests that are still involved with the game and trying to make things interesting with the show. Because I don't think anyone wants to hear me or my opinions every single week. So it's nice getting some fresh ideas. So that's a big thing we'll focus on in the new year. But I mean, you'll know as well, we've obviously got a proper day job to focus on, so it's not always easy, dedicating the resources to try and get people on the show, but it's all good fun. And I mean, as long as that's the case, I'll keep doing it. And that's probably the same story for the betting. It's decent fun. It's not as much fun. I'm actually you should probably know you've got a little bit of a problem. I saw a mate of mine put himself on that suspension kind of thing, a break, and I'm not quite there yet because I'm not losing as much. But when you've got the cricket open with WSB here, and I actually just lost money on Miller going out, so no, you should probably be considering taking a bit of a break, but it's not going to happen at this stage. I'm enjoying it. I'm having some good fun. I feel like I've got decent strategies in place, except for cricket. Somehow it's one of those weird cases where I just love cricket and I think I should be good at it punting wise, and it's just a bloody money pit. Well, rugby is going well though.
Oh, 100%. Well, I'm pleased rugby's going well. Yeah, cricket, I find this is the time of year I actually do bet on a little bit of cricket. I bet on a little bit of golf. It's almost like I like to, my way of taking a break is not betting as much on rugby and just betting on other sports. That's my version of a breaker. Anyway, welcome to Patrick there joining us in the live chat. I wonder if Mark Dunphy will be in tonight. For some reason, he keeps getting kicked off the show. Mark, I hope if you are there, maybe it's best to keep quiet and see if you can hang on and watch the show. But Couch, we've had Champions Cup action the last couple of weeks. Been enjoyable. I must admit, I haven't exactly cleaned up, but last week I did have a good weekend. I got some of the early handicaps. But we're back to the bread and butter, I would call it, the URC this week. We've got 7 matches that we're going to discuss. We've also got the Dragons Cardiff, but that's coming up on Boxing Day. And yeah, let's get straight into the action on Friday night. We have got, and I'm just scrolling back up here, almost a choice game here, Couch. We've got Ulster against Munster, half-a-point favourite Ulster at home. And normally I've got points lines by this time, but just to mention, if there's any noise in the background, guys, our power went off. It's not load shedding, but our power went off about 2 hours ago. So I've had to switch the generator on, and it means my preparation for the show wasn't quite what it usually is. So I haven't seen a points line yet. But what do you make of this one? I think the bookies probably quite close here with their handicap of calling it a choice game.
Yeah, this one is so tough to call, Brent. I mean, I think in the first place, you got to know if the Irish derbies there, it's just the form book out of the window. But in this case, I mean, it's not like there's much of a form book in any case for either side. Both have had their struggles, so it's really difficult to think which way to go. I mean, Munster have shown some decent courage, but again, it's Ulster at home. Usually in these kind of bets, I'm just I'm siding on the side of the home side, but I'm definitely not putting a pool of money on one of these Irish lads at this stage.
Right. Well, Rugby Edge Chips, he's coming in on Twitter, and I've answered him on YouTube, which isn't going to help him very much. Rugby Edge Chips, we will discuss that. We're going to get to the Sharks game, but probably pretty quickly because I don't see us spending too long tonight on all of these games. I've got to get my generator off as well. Just to let you know, in this particular game, yeah, I'm leaning towards Ulster here, and I'm leaning towards the 1-12 margin. You'll probably get around about 16-10 on that one. So, yeah, difficult game, I think, to start the weekend. We'll have a look. If anyone in the live chat does have a point plan for us, let us know. But let's move on then to Saturday's games, 3 o'clock kickoff here, South. We've got quite a big handicap here. Benetton are minus 15.5 against Zebre. This, of course, is the Italian derby. Ooh, I don't know. Hey, Zebre, they've surprised one or two sides at home. Benetton, to me, the times I backed them at home, they've generally been disappointing. I don't know what to make of this one, but I couldn't bring myself, I don't think, to back Benetton as minus 15.5. What are your thoughts?
No, Brent, it's always tough with these guys, the smaller unions when they, or clubs in this case, when, they're favourites, it's still, they struggle to put a team away. And Benetton, probably the only time I will back them is when they are playing at home. I think they're a good team at home, and the same with Zebre, they're good at home. I think the only thing that we can say, as we said, it's an Italian derby, so I think Zebre should be better. They should be better than they are on the road. Usually, I mean, it's still in the same country, so I'm throwing Zebre into a few multis, at a bigger plus. I can't remember 15 years. So I think we can get that plus 21, put plus 21 into multis, and it's not my main leg, but it's definitely a few that I throw into the two games I do fancy this weekend.
Right, and just to welcome Simbo, of course, coming to us from Kabaga there. We've had quite a bit of international sport over the last couple of weeks. Right, that then was the Italian derby, but that really won't be the focus, certainly for most South Africans on Saturday afternoon, because at the same time, no, not at the same time, 45 minutes later, we got this kickoff. Now, Couch, the reason I thought of you for this, of course, is I handicapped this game Stormers minus 4.5, and the bookies came out at 1.5. Now, I don't want to point out the obvious, but the line is moving in my direction here. And you did say on the forum you're with the books on this one. You reckon Stormers, and I'm not going to argue with you, by the way. The Stormers have been poor, but you would say it should probably have been a choice game. So can I assume you're going to be back in the Lions in this one?
Yeah, definitely. Now, I knew I didn't have to jump on the cap. I knew that was probably going to be the sentiment. I was scared that people were gonna read what I think is the right thing into this game. And I mean, it's a top Stormers team. If you look at the team sheet, it's good. Obviously, I don't know if it's been announced, but I've heard that Dion Fourie back this week, which is going to be massive. I mean, that'll be a massive change for them. I think he's the guy that they've really missed this year. Obviously, Ivan Ruiz hasn't played a lot. Damian Willemse has been in for a couple and then out again. He's still out. Moani is, I think they broke him at the Springboks. He's lost his confidence at the moment. He's still, I actually don't know whether he's going to be available because he took a heavy head knock. So that's going to be interesting. And as I said, he's just kind of off at the moment. To me, they have lost a lot of players. I know I saw a team sheet kind of thing, but Dobson seems to have just lost a little bit of mojo in the camp as well with some disruptions. I think they've still got good players, but as a unit, I don't know, something just isn't working there at the moment. And the exact opposite for the Lions. I know. I think the Sanele Nohamba thing is just a little bit of a scratch there. I don't know. Something's happening with him, not getting as much game time as he should, I think. But otherwise, you've got guys moving into the Springbok setup there. Guys like Quinn Horn is playing great rugby at fullback. Morne van der Berg has been involved with the box and playing good rugby. So solid back of forwards they always have with the big guy at tight end there. I'm not even going to try and say his name. So it's good stuff at the moment for the Lions, and I don't think they're going to have a struggle going, playing away from home. I mean, with URC these days, I think South Africans are just glad when it's in the country. It's going to be the same weather. It's not cold all of a sudden and warm all of a sudden. So good game for the Lions, good pitch, good afternoon game. I don't know what the weather's like in the Cape now that I'm this side for the holidays, but if it's a good weather, I think that's where the Lions come a little bit unstuck when it's, they can't throw the ball around. If they can, Lions to run rampage, I actually think I'm going to back them in all sorts of ways. I've got them +7 into quite a few multis. I'm going to back them even winning by 9 and more, at a very good price, things like that. So it's Lions all the way for me this weekend.
Well, there's no doubt if it was Oracle in the studio saying the same thing, there'd be a case of beers on this one between me and the Oracle, no doubt about it. Yeah, I'm looking at the Stormers, and I just feel they have underperformed. They haven't fired. I also feel though that the Lions have hit a little bit of a wobbly patch of late. And the Stormers, of course, should be quite a few of their players should be fairly fresh for this one, having taken a sort of a bit of a second string, some would even argue third string side over and getting absolutely hammered by Harlequins last week in the Champions Cup. So I'm leaning Stormers here. So I didn't get on the early -1.5. That's probably where I should have got on. But I'm going to wait and see what happens with points as well. I'm going to give you a points line here, Couch, of 49.5. Are you over or under?
What's going to be the points on the Lions if you think on that?
49 or 46. So Lions, you'll get 23.5, 22.5, 23.5.
Yeah, if I can get under 24, obviously 23 would be better, but I like 24 kind of as a number. So under 24, I'd be on Lions points. So Brent, I'm not touching the Stormers. Stormers, to me, they'll come out, they'll play rugby for 20 minutes. They're going to get a try, get 10 points, and then they shut down. They're going to be... I hear you on the Lions losing some form, but to me, it was a game at home, which they had the rain, and it was miserable, and the game away from home, which was also miserable weather. As I said, I think, I'll obviously check the weather. I mean, that's a big one for me. But if it's dry, it's a beautiful pitch. It's running rugby for the Lions. I think they could mark them stickant. It's gonna be. I would have given you a bet there. It's gonna be a case. It's maybe a Jameson or something. It would have gone down. I'm keen on it. I think it's the Lions are gonna take this one. I think they'll kick back into form.
Excellent. Well, that's the one local derby confidence stuff there from Couch Critic. Let's see if any final comments. Seen is saying that he does think this game will have points. Obviously, weather dependent. There, the weather certainly looked pretty good today for the cricket. Right, let's move on to the next game. Now, we've got Sharks -4.5 against Bulls. This is coming slightly, and I want to bring up that comment from, was it Rugby Edge Tips there, who's obviously watching on Twitter, where he said he had the Sharks -2. So, -2, I think you must have got that quite early in the week. It cashed out, seen key player injuries. What are your thoughts on this? And, Kat, before I bring you in, I do have the team sheet, because the Sharks are one of those teams which I really like. They do announce their team early, so I've got it on the Good for the Game site here. I haven't had, because of this whole power thing and that, I haven't had a good look at it. But interesting comment that, because I must tell you that I was leaning very heavily towards the Sharks. I just feel the Bulls lost their way a little bit. They weren't impressive at all last week in going down to the Northampton Saints, although I was pretty impressed with them. I was on the Saints at 7-2 and a number of other bets on that game. What do you think there? What do you think of the team selected? What do you think of the handicap? I know it's difficult for you because you're a Shark supporter ultimately.
Yeah, Brent, it's always a little bit difficult, but I mean, I try and put the emotions aside there, and again, to tell you the truth, sorry, I'm actually trying to go to your team sheet on that one because I can't see it there. I know it was shared. Yeah, it was shared with me on WhatsApp, and I just saw Sia, and I just know Eamon's out, so I don't know. I'm not sure about the injuries there. Who else is missing from the Sharks?
No, having a look. Sia's there. It looks like the obvious one is Eben, who I look at. He is a top player. But looking at their backline, I think it looks like a decent backline. I think maybe Ethan. What's the guy's name? That Kwapin playing on the wing. That guy got carded last week. Man, I forgot his name. I think he might be out.
Ethan Hooker. Or
that? Oh no, Hooker's there. He's playing second center.
Okay. No, that's good. No, it's a decent team. I mean, and is Sia Masuku at 10 or?
It is Jordan Hendricks at 10. Sia's on the bench.
Okay. No, I think it's and Ox is starting as well.
Ox is starting. Vincent Koch, Dylan Richardson in the front row.
Yeah. No, I think they just alluding to maybe Bongi and Eben. I mean, that's the big losses for the Sharks. But to me, often they play slightly better without some of their box. I don't think it's such a big thing. But again, the Sharks just, to me, they don't put anyone away. And I hear you on the Bulls. I think it's kind of like a watershed moment for the Bulls. I think there's a lot of it's but I mean the Sharks are so used to playing without I don't even think they realize he's still on the books. But it's going to be interesting for the Bulls, knowing that I think we'll see whether they won Jake there or not. If they don't win Jake there, they'll lose by 14 plus. But if they do feel that, as a unit in the change room, that this is still the way they want to go, then I think they'll push the Sharks. And yeah, I'm in the opposite camp there. I think than you, Brent. I think the Bulls are going to run this one close, have a good chance of winning it. To me, the Sharks, they flattered to deceive with the team that they have at the moment. They should be putting teams away and really being great guns. And you just struggle to play rugby in Durban for some reason. I know the humidity, but as a rule, it's just a bit of a slugfest. So I think the Bulls are going to be keen. I heard an interview from Elrich Lowe where they're saying it was just a horrible week, and they're going to put it behind them, and they're going to pitch up and play good rugby. And I mean, if Hanekom and Elrich is there, Volko Lowe is an absolute monster. I mean, Ox isn't going to put him away. He's just they're going to cancel each other out. So I do think they miss Nortje. I think he's probably a key for them, and Grobler's been crap at the line-out time. So that's, I think, between that and losing Nortje, the line-out is a huge issue for the Bulls. If they can sort that out, they're going to be real runners in this one. Obviously, the 9-10, they're just not as good as some of the other teams, but and they're missing Orense. But I think the Bulls are going to come there and put up a hell of a fight. I wouldn't be surprised if they nick the win.
All right, so you're a Bulls man in this one. I'm still leaning towards the Sharks. I do agree. Etzebeth and Bongi in particular, their rugby edge tips are big losses, and Johan Estey is in the green as well. But I'm with Admiral on this one. I think they are going to win this one and beat the handicap. I also must agree with you, Catch. I think at the moment is probably not the biggest loss. In fact, I really like the centre combination of Andre Estes and Ethan Hooker. So I'm with the Sharks here. So we're going.
Hooker's he's a machine. I think Ethan Hooker's got a. I mean, obviously it's a tightly packed bunch. They're trying to make centre for the box, but he's shown moving to wing. I'm not saying I don't think he should be a wing. I think he's a definite centre, but he showed with his work rate and the way he plays. I'm a massive fan, big fan of Andre Estes, and so it'll be tough for me backing against them. But I just think things aren't quite just not working at the moment. Clicking for I think for the Sharks, it's too they never play the same team week in and week out. It's they just don't get that consistency, and that's a bit of a struggle. But no, I think they'll pull it close. But big fan of Ethan Hooker. Probably try scorer wise, Brent, when it comes out later. Dylan Richardson plays at Hooker, but plays like a flank. So he's always a runner for a try. Even if you want to get creative, Ox scores a heck of a lot as a prop. So it's always one to look out for. The bookies aren't always on him to be more productive than someone for, let's say, Volko Lowe, which is crazy. So those ones to look out for, and then obviously some lively ones. Hanekom is also a very big try scorer, so look out for him.
And just going back to your try scorer, I know we always used to joke about you and your hookers because you used to really back the hooker. And you kind of got in at the ground level, if I could put it that way, when hooker tries started becoming popular. So you were still getting some decent prices on your hookers, though, for those days. Value for money, you might say. But these days, it's hard to get a decent price on a hooker to score first try. They're generally around if it's a favorite team, generally around the 9-1 mark and that sort of stuff.
A value for money hooker, Brent, you can never write them off, but you should always go back. No, I must say it's a bit of a struggle for me adapting. You still feel like you want to go for the hooker, but as you said, when you're getting less than, you're getting 6 and 7-1 sometimes on really these big guys. Who do like Akker van der Merwe. He's a great runner. We all know he loves his try, but he's just getting too short. You got to back him, and he's got to deliver like every 5th game basically to make it profitable. So that's just not what I like in those games, and that's often that you could get in this one is for the Bulls to score the first try. So if you think they're going to start fast, then you can get one on the Bulls hooker to get the first try. So you still get a decent 14-15-1. Where you'd usually get, as I said, less than 10, but because they're the underdog. So that's the one. The same will be for the Lions. I'll definitely have a look at someone like Morne van der Berg. He loves it. He snipes around the scrum. And as I said, if you take him first try scorer, they're going to have the Stormers guys as the favorite. So, you could get a very nice 24-1 or something, which is very big.
David coming in and asking, do we ever win on the Sharks? I'm just replying to him on YouTube. The answer is no, Dave. Very seldom at any rate. Just want to mention that I know, like PokerBet, for example, they have a few different try scorer markets. So they also have, you can have first Bulls try scorer, first, in this case, Sharks try scorer, but you can also get last try scorer. what I've noticed,
Yeah.
obviously the bookies take a feed from, wherever they take the feed from. But the guys who do the feed are a little bit lazy. So what you'll get is, you'll get last try scorer. And so if I look at the Sharks team, you've got Dylan Richardson. He's a starting hooker. And you've got Ethan Bester, who's the reserve hooker. And what you'll get price-wise, let's just we'll zero in purely on the Sharks. So Sharks first try scorer, you're going to get Dylan Richardson 7 or 8 to 1. And you're also going to get Ethan Bester like at about 11 to 1, let's just say. Now, I mean, we know that you think that by the time Ethan Bester gets on the field, the try's been scored. But what's quite interesting is when you look at the last try scorer mark, they'll price virtually exactly the same. So then you're saying to yourself, Ethan Bester, and I'm just saying Ethan Bester, to be honest, I don't know the guy, I just know he's the reserve hooker. But then you go, and hold on a sec, how can he be 11 to 1 to score the first try and 11 to 1 to score the last try? It doesn't make sense. And every now and again, you can spot a bit of value. But generally speaking, this is a market for me where the bookies have just unfortunately tightened up quite a bit. Do you ever look for those type of things?
No, definitely, and I mean it's a big part. It's like almost I don't understand why have like a hooker there, as you say, unless it's a blood replacement. It's very, very unlikely or highly unlikely. So it doesn't make sense for those guys to, and often they do make those mistakes. Or even you can see, listen, they're not exactly sure who's starting here or something like that because they've got the other guy, Akker. Let's say, as I said, Akker is a big try scorer and Grobler a little bit less. They'll have Akker, shorter as first try scorer, but he's on the bench, which it just doesn't make sense. And as you say, they probably most of the time they just copy the rates in any case. And not all bookies even offer the last try scorer. Sometimes they only do or they do offer last try scorer, but only for starting lineup players. So I mean, to me that doesn't. I'm always I like to back someone from the bench to score the last try. He's fresh, unless it's if from team selection like the Lions, they played Sanele there and then they'll bring him on as a fly-off. So you can still take Morne as a last try scorer because he stays on the park. But unfortunately they don't push up the price thinking that he's going to go off. And as you say, they don't put as much time and effort into the pricing there.
Yeah, 100%. So occasionally you'll get a bit of a slip up. I just want to say some advice from Sharks quite a while ago on the Good for the Game forum. One of our users there, he said, rather, if you are going to back like last try scorer or first try scorer, rather look at the individual team because the prices actually don't differ that much from the overall match. So you might get 9 to 1 on the one hand, to score first try for his team, and you'll only be 12 to 1 in the match or whatever. So rather take the 9 to 1. You're playing against 15 less players. Anyway, we've spoken quite a long.
But Brent, especially on the favorite. If you're on the favorite, it's nothing worse than backing the last try scorer for the favorite, and then the underdog comes in and scores a late try. And as you say, then you're only losing about 1 point on the team's last try scorer. So it'll be much better going for that one. But on the underdog, I do like going for just sticking it on there and saying, listen, I'm not going to go for the team because the team odds are then a lot shorter than you get for last try scorer. And I mean, often the underdog gets a late try. It doesn't really matter who gets the last try. It doesn't always or often it doesn't go to form. Yeah.
100%.
And just on points, Brent, maybe on the last one on Sharks Bulls, obviously we don't know what that's going to be, but again, I suppose we'll both be probably leaning on unders in this one. It's just not Bulls in pretty crap form. Sharks, as I said, don't really run away and score a heck of a lot of tries, and Durban notoriously under.
Yeah, so let me quickly look. Chris has got a link on the Good for the Game forum here to the weather, and I'll bring that up now while we're talking. But in fact, I was going to tell you, I was going to give you a line there, Couch. I was going to give you a line of 48.5 on that one. I'm just busy bringing the weather up. I'll let me bring that up. I'll bring Saturday's weather. It looks like there could be a little bit of rain at around about 5 o'clock, which I think, let's quickly go look. 6 o'clock is kickoff. So, yeah, it could be a risky one. Yeah, but I'm going to give you a line of 48.5. What are you doing?
No, I think we've said this quite often as well. In Durban, it's almost you almost don't want it to rain if you're on unders, unless it's absolutely showering down. It's almost better if it doesn't rain. So to me, the rain prediction isn't as important in Durban. It's still going to be hot. It's still going to be miserable. It's still going to be tough playing running rugby. So yeah, I almost don't want the weather forecast there bringing it in a point or two when I could be getting a higher price. So yeah, still not. I just can't go overs. I mean, it's either a no bet or it's unders when they're playing in Durban. As I said, I think the Bulls are short of confidence. They're not all of a sudden
So
they
the
lack
line,
continuity for me.
yeah, and in Durban, of course, what we always look at is this humidity level. So if we look at 5 o'clock, 94%, 90%, 87%.
Yeah.
So you can basically guarantee the ball is going to be greasy. Looking here, we've got some quite high wind, but that's coming in at 8 o'clock, so the game should be over then. So yeah, interesting. Keep an eye on the weather. Of course, weather forecasts are not always 100% accurate. That I've learned the hard way as well, I can tell you. Right, Kachi, we've got 3 games left to talk about. This one, there has been some money for the Scarlets. Good for the game. Foreign boys were all over it early in the week. I think it was +6.5, no, +7.5 Scarlets. It's come in, but we still got the Ospreys -4.5 in the Welsh derby.
Yeah, I agree with the guys. Yeah, I mean, to me, I want they're not as bottom of the log that you'd expect. You can't say this is exactly rubbish versus rubbish. Yeah, they're actually surprisingly still mixing it there on the log. But I can obviously see Ospreys getting the result, but I don't think Scarlets are going to get put away in a big way. So I think Scarlets will especially when it was 7.5. And I mean, again, it's one of those games I'll just throw into the alternative, the handicap, and take Scarlets +10 at a short price and boost by multis.
Yes, I just want to actually find and I'm just quickly skimming down to find I think it was the Sharks though. Oh, here we go. Actually, the Admiral, he's watching the show as well, but I'm going to bring you, this is the Good for the Game forum. For those of you who don't know, there is a link down below. We do a lot of rugby chatting about betting during the week. So he took Scarlets +7.5. Ospreys have just sacked their head coach, who will only have an interim for this weekend. Seems like there's been dysfunction at the club all year. So, yeah, interesting one. That I don't know if I'll be getting too involved in that game, but all signs are pointing towards the Scarlets on that one. Right.
I know it's still, it's still 4-10 on the +10, so that's something that, as I say, I stick my 2 main plays. So I'll use one and do, 3 doubles, doing other legs that I like, and then again go with the other one, and then obviously my big play is the 2 alternative caps. But I'll say that at the end in terms of my best bet. So that's the way I play it. So it's definitely some Zebre plus going into those multis or the accumulators, and some Scarlets plus at this stage.
100%. So you're going to cover some of that when you get to your best bet as well. We've got 2 games left. Leinster at home to Connacht, -14.5. Leinster. And they've also just come through a couple of victories in the Champions Cup. This, on the face of it, looks a reasonable handicap to back Leinster, but they also make a lot of team changes and that. So you're not quite sure perhaps what Leinster team you're getting here, Couch.
They're always tough in terms of team announcement. They've got a massive squad. They like to rotate, and you never know. Now, obviously, in a kind of derby, they'll probably go relatively strong, especially this time of the year. Probably not a heck of a lot of rugby after this, so they could go strong one last time. But Leinster are just such. I mean, they're these absolute monsters that dominate the competition, but again, it's a team that really seldom puts guys away, big time, and Connacht is plucky. So I'm not rushing into that minus, that's for sure. But also, it's almost, they are very closely linked probably to the Crusaders in terms of the dominance, and like of the Crusaders, you just don't really like backing against Leinster putting on a show. So and usually in these kind of things, I'd say, okay, take the away team underdog in the first half, and then Leinster put their foot down. But they're almost the kind of team that operates in the opposite way. Often like you've said, Brent, in some styles as well, where the team comes out and does the job in the first half, and then they bring on some subs and they take their foot off the pedal. And if they really need to, they score another try in the last 10 minutes just to make sure or get the bonus point or whatever. But usually they come in, get the job done, and then they relax after that. So I can't even go for my other strategy of going for Connacht on the halftime plus. So to me, this is just a leave alone game.
Okay, no, fair enough. And you're spot on. That's what I picked up about Leinster as well. Let's move on to the final game then of the weekend, and it is the Glasgow Warriors. They've really impressed me in the last season or two. They're -10.5 at home to Edinburgh. I'll quickly have a look if there's been any betting movements here. And there was not really. It's open, pretty much open -10.5 here in South Africa, from what I can tell. What do you think, Couch? Also, obviously, it is, as Emil points out earlier, it is a derby weekend, so all of these games are derbies. What are you going to do here?
Brent, maybe just to discuss this game, I just want to take a step back. I don't know if you guys have looked at the outright a lot, and if you look at the out, I mean, we're talking about Leinster now, and we're also discussing Glasgow. So to me, if you look at the outright, I mean, there's just zero value really almost across the board, but there's no value on Leinster at 60-10, you know, to get the job done. They've struggled. They always split their resources, so that one is a tough one. The Bulls, I'm just using WSB now, so I mean it could be different prices if you can get it somewhere else.
I've got BetExchange odds. I'll be very similar, yeah.
Okay, and then you've got the Bulls at 4-1. They really, I mean, you can't back them at the moment with the way they're playing. Some kind of hiccup at squad system. Obviously, they can win a couple of games on the bounce, and they're right back in it. But I wouldn't back them as second favorite. So where I'm focusing, and even if you look below that, so I'm skipping Glasgow and then Munster. I mean, we couldn't pick a winner between them and Ulster at the moment, and Ulster is way down. So if you can't back Munster there to get the job done, you should question mark the fact that they're the fourth favourites here to win the thing. And then the Sharks, I've said, obviously if they click, they're probably the one danger team that can do something at 11-1. And then Stormers, you can't touch them with a pole at 20-1 because they just nowhere at the moment. So to me, if you look at the outright, Glasgow is the only team backable. You know, if you want to back someone, it's got to be Glasgow in my opinion. So then going back to the game, I mean, they just got to get the job done there, and I can't see them struggling to get it. I don't think they'll necessarily put 20 points on Edinburgh again in derbies. They often, you know, play for some pride. They'll keep it close, but again, I'm going to take a smaller minus, maybe on the board if it gets a little bit big enough, and add that into some of my multiple plays because I can't see Glasgow losing this one.
Yeah, I also like Glasgow, and I'm particularly impressed with their defence and the way they hang in games, and then ultimately, you know, last week they just lost 5 points, but the fact that they were able to hang in that first half impressed me. I just want to go back to the outright betting here because I tend to agree with you. You know, Leinster every time, I mean, the last couple of seasons, Leinster, of course, haven't won this tournament. And they're always trading at around the 6-10 mark virtually all through the season. And the problem with Leinster is quite simple, is you know that Leinster are going to be involved in the business end of the Champions Cup, where they are second favourites to lose. And the last couple of seasons, they paid the price for sort of resting a player for, they say, the semi-final. Like I know the last year, I think it was against Munster. And then they actually get beat, you know. So, I mean, I'd say, not that I agree that Leinster are favourites, but I'd say I mean, how could I convince you to take 6-10 Leinster? I don't think you could, because you kind of know that come the end of the playoffs, you're probably still going to be able to get 6-10 on them. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean it's gonna, if they end up in the semi-final, you're still getting 5-10 probably outright. So I mean at worst, so it's just not worth it backing them at this stage. And I said it's almost like you need to pick one of the other guys who's going to be in a home semi. And to me, that's Glasgow at the moment. You know, they pick up another couple of wins and they almost guaranteed to slot into second or third place at worst. So to me, they're the runners. I do have some money on the Bulls. I was hoping they're really going to click and make it their season. So I am involved there, but unfortunately, as I said, I feel like they're just going the wrong way at the moment.
And Couch, let me ask you, if you had to, if I had to say to you, you got to back the Sharks to win the tournament, what sort of price could I tempt you with for the Sharks? They're 11-1 at the moment. If I said to you they were 25-1, would you back them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I said, I think to me they're the team that they have the cattle. It's just a case of kicking and you know, a couple of good games and all of a sudden they're the team to beat, especially on paper. You know, as soon as people see, you know, Bongi and Eben and Ox and these guys are on a 4 or 5 match winning streak and picking up bonus points and playing good rugby, then I mean they shoot to, you know, they're swapping around with the Bulls. They're becoming the 4-1 and the Bulls are becoming the 11-1, and a lot of that could change this weekend, you know, after and in the 2 South African derbies, you know, to come. All of a sudden after 2 weeks of derbies, it could be a very big different picture if the Sharks end up you know, dishing out 5-pointers 2 in a row and the Bulls drop 2 in a row. Then all of a sudden it's a switch around. So they are someone or a team that's got value. And anything, I mean, 20-1, I'd probably put something on them. But yeah, as a fan, I don't need to put something on them because I'd be running around shirtless if they win in any case.
Excellent. Well, Couch, it brings us to the end of the show, the end of the final handicap show for 2024. And let's bring it down with Couch's best bets of the weekend, right? What have you got for us, Couch Critic?
Brent, as I said, the strategy I like, I know it's boring. You guys kind of like to beat the handicap straight out. I mean, that's the show's name, but I'm still using the handicaps.
And that's money, it doesn't matter how you play.
I've got Bulls plus 10.5 onto the Lions plus 7.5. That gives you even money as a double. That's my main play. I mean, I stick quite a bit on that, and then I basically split it as well. I take Bulls plus 10.5 as the anchor, and then I throw things in, as I said, Zebre on a bigger plus, Scarlets on a bigger plus, Glasgow to get the job done at home. So those are the three alternative ones that I then throw in with the Bulls, and the same goes for the three, and then I throw it in with the Lions. So if one leg does really bomb out, at least I end up getting through if the other three, do their job. So it's kind of hedging your, it does not hedging your bets. Obviously, I'm still on the 10.5 and 7.5, but if one does go askew, then I'm still at least not running home. And I mean, if I get both wrong, then I'm pretty poor at punting. So I'm hoping they get the job done, and that's the one I'm taking to the bank. But a little bit on the Bulls to win outright, a little bit on the Lions to win outright, and as I said, a sneaky one on the Lions to win big.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you, I was just going to say to you, I'm not finishing the show yet. First of all, if you say scene, going to be a Stormers game on overpoints depending on weather, because I knew Johan Esthuys was watching the show, but I hadn't seen his weekly treble yet. And I know there's sometimes quite a delay from when the comment's made to when I actually see the comment for the first time. But just when I was getting worried, he popped up with his treble. So let's cover it there. My weekly treble, Bulls plus 5.5. That Couch will give you the firm nod of the head on that one. Munster win. Okay, that went against a little bit, but yeah, certainly a choice game. And Scarlets plus 4.5, and that works out at 6-1. Excellent, man. Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks to all the guys in the live chat. And Couch, as always, a pleasure having you on. I'm sure we'll do a good few more shows next year, but I want to wish you all the best for the festive season, your Christmas and your New Year, and hope you have a good break and come out ready to come out firing in 2025.
Cheers, Ben. 100%. Thanks, man. All the best to you guys and all the viewers and everyone from Good for the Game for 2025. Let's make it a good one.
Let's make it a good one. Let's hit those bookies hard. We'll see you sometime mid-January in 2025. 2025. I certainly thought I was going to make an error there. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next year.